This is Breakfast with Stephen and Ellie. If you do want to get in touch this morning, here we go. Nobody told us. gbviews@gbnews.com.
Yes. We've been giving you the wrong email address.
Well, do you know what? I think the .uk is probably still working for now,
yes.
but you need to switch over to .com. There you go.
There you go. We need to get used to saying it.
We do.
gbviews@gbnews.com.
.com. Because we've changed our website to .com. So obviously this is following on from that and all the rest of it. So there you go. A very, very good morning to Anthony. Great show as always, says Anthony. Well, you just look after yourself because he's currently recovering from quadruple bypass heart surgery. Wow. Just take it easy, Anthony. Good luck to you.
Oh, yeah, I hope you feel better soon. And we're on all weekend so we can keep you company. And really hope, things get easier. That's a tough one, isn't it? But good morning to all of you. Thank you for all your greetings. Lots of you getting in touch this morning. Right, let's take you through the newspapers. Let's have a look at the Mirror, shall we? This is a lovely spread of unseen pictures of the late Tina Turner, the legend, from London and Paris in 1996. Wonderful photos there.
Candid sort of shots.
Yeah.
Tina Turner.
Oh.
She did a lot of touring. Everyone always says about her touring, it was like, the dancing and the heels and all. It's just the energy she had on stage. Must have been exhausting.
Remarkable energy, yeah.
Now in the Express this morning, a lovely story about an 87-year-old head teacher who prides herself on teaching Britain's youngsters strictly outside. Apparently there's no electricity, running water, or classrooms, but she seems to think it works.
Oh, and don't they look like they're having a wonderful time?
Well, they do.
And she looks like she's really enjoying being with them as well. 87, she's still going.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And take a look at this photo. Princess of Wales looking absolutely fabulous, as she always does here in the mirror.
Very nice.
In a pink suit, white heels, white stilettos, very Essex of her. Enjoying that. Apparently the trouser suit is Alexander McQueen. And she was visiting the Foundling Museum in London.
I don't know what the Foundling Museum is. She always looks like it must be lovely just to throw clothes on every morning and look fantastic.
Yeah. I wonder if she gets styling or whether that's just all her.
I should think she gets styling.
Very nice.
Fair, I think so. Meanwhile, the King was out yesterday in the Northern Irish sunshine. It's a bit of a sort of overly bright picture, that, isn't it? He was talking to vendors at the Market Theatre Square in Armagh. He does look quite cash, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, he does look quite cash. It looks like he's little wayfarers or something there. Yeah. One of my friends was in Armagh yesterday with her daughter, just shopping, and shook hands with Queen Camilla.
Did she?
Said it was absolutely wonderful, because it was an unannounced visit, I believe, so they didn't know it was happening, and she was just in the town centre and met the Queen and King.
You'd never guess who I saw when I was out shopping this morning.
That's who I bumped into, yeah.
Lovely.
She had a lovely time. She was with her daughter and she said it's just a wonderful memory for them to have together. So very, very sweet.
Yeah, very nice. OK, let's see what else is in the papers with broadcaster and host of the Blethered podcast, Sean McDonald, and writer and commentator Candice Holdsworth. Good to see you this morning. Candice.
Good morning.
Candice. As soon as I said Candice, it's like, no!
It's fine.
Every time. I'll get it right in about 5 years. Sean, let's start with you, should we, in the Times, looking at this crash into the gates of Downing Street.
Yeah, number 10 Downing Street was in red alert yesterday. A silver Kia hatchback about 4:20 p.m. crashed into the gates. I saw the image and there was a lot of pedestrians, so it could have been pretty serious.
It did only go about 4 miles an hour.
It still could be enough, If there's a car coming at you at any speed, if somebody's not paying attention, you're having a wee look through the gates. It's quite fascinating to see that famous black door. The driver was pulled out, pushed to the ground, tasers pointed at him, and he was arrested in suspicion of criminal damage and dangerous driving. Obviously something that could cause a lot of panic. I think it was 2017, you had Islamic terrorist Khalid Masood used a car to kill 4 people. Now, I suppose we'll find out it probably has been a case of carelessness. It could have been anything. But I tell you what, if you're that guy, of all the places to crash into the gates, because Prime Minister Rishi Sunak was in, and it's obviously going to be taken very, very seriously.
Well, it is. But I sort of hope if it is a direct criminal thing where they've been trying to make a point or a statement or something, then yes, fair enough. You'll throw the book at them. If it happens to be an older driver who's just made a mistake, I hope it's responded to properly.
I would say so. You have to hope for sort of proportional policing and proportional judiciary process, but it's obviously going to be taken very, very seriously. I mean, as we see here in the images, it probably would have caused a lot of widespread panic. People thinking, is there a bomb? Is there anything attached? And I think ordinarily I would play it down and say, come on, let's not be reckless in our sort of analysis of this here. But in this instance, I think people's initial panic probably very much proportionate and probably reasonable.
Yeah, we don't know anything about the driver at this stage, but it's funny how my first is, I know some older drivers now who drive, and I could just imagine them doing it.
Yeah.
You know, just thinking,
maybe trying to get classic FM or smooth FM or something on the radio, and then before you know it, you're staring at the gates.
Like, this isn't the right way.
I mean, but as you say, Sean, I mean, of all places to do that, if that's indeed what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. The footage does calm you, doesn't it? Because you obviously see these headlines and you do think the worst after the attacks that we've seen at Westminster before. But if we've got that footage, it is remarkably slow.
It slows down as he goes in,
across the pavement. As it enters and heads towards those gates. So we will obviously get more detail on that as things become clearer. Candice, let's have a look at you, shall we? And this is a story you've got in the Express. Rishi says, I get it, you want migration down.
Yes, so this is a story in the Express. This is the big story of the past week. The migration figures have come out, and they're about 606,000 per year. Not as much as people thought they would be. People thought they would be close to 1 million, but still, a lot of people feel they're too high. So Rishi Sunak is now saying that he wants to get the numbers down. He's saying that a lot of it's to do with the lifting of COVID restrictions. So there was maybe a bit of a bottleneck. The only issue is that, as so many people have said, a lot of these people are filling vacancies in like the care sector, for instance, where they can't fill jobs. So unless there's some massive reform of the sector, they're able to get people back into work here for whatever reason they're not in work. Immigration is what the government's relying on. So this is a very, very tricky problem to solve.
But why are we so... If these are... I mean, I know there are Hong Kong and Ukrainian figures in this as well. But if we're why are we needing to recruit that many people? Because you say, well, because a lot of EU nationals left, you could say. Yeah. We've never hit negative territory with net migration figures, have we?
Yes, as far as I know, the immigration rules have actually been liberalised. So a lot of it was done under Boris Johnson. So a lot of the requirements and the caps on salary and things like that have been lowered.
Yes,
so now it's much easier for people to come in than it used to be in the past. And the care sector has a number, like the care sector, the NHS, I think there's also agricultural work, huge numbers of vacancies that need to be filled. So I think that's why a lot of those requirements were lowered, so they could just get people in faster, basically.
Sean, what do you make of this?
I think it's just a continuation of the Tories, the only way that they're going to actually feasibly win the election. Because they're not going to be able to do it in record, they're not going to be able to do it on their competency or their achievements. So it's going to have to be a continuation of stop the boats, reduce migration, while actually doing the complete and exact opposite. If I was a voter, if I was somebody who had been supporting the Tories, I'd be looking at what they were saying and what they were doing. And this right now is just playing sort of divisive politics while delivering the complete and exact opposite. And the next story we'll go on to, I think, is an example of that very tactic.
Well, that's in The Sun. What's that about?
Well, honestly, I would call this story in The Sun misleading at best, mendacious at worst, and I would say this probably actually is just completely interlaced in mendacity. The claim is that 50 migrants were packed on a dinghy which was in French waters. The French went to assist them, and apparently the claim is that they denied assistance and said we're waiting for UK assistance instead, because that would then take them into the UK. Now, this is from Harry Cole. I think he's, the political editor of The Sun. There's, honestly, as I'm reading it, there's no names, there's nobody that's named as, here's the source that it came from. It's all very much, the border force source said, and someone said here, but then we get to the point, this is the sort of the crux of it. You've got a Tory MP who's on the Home Affairs Committee, his name's Adam Holloway, and it goes straight into, I'm not surprised that the French said no, because it means it can come here, we're soft-touch Britain, and here's why we have to stop the boats. And that's why I would urge anybody that sees stories like this to look beyond the headline and actually look at the story. Are there named sources? What is the point they're trying to get across? And
Well, no, but often you can't name sources.
no, you can't name a source, but listen, it depends what is being said. You know, if this was true, you would go to Border Force and you would say, by the way, can we please have a comment? You know, the way you would go to the police, you would say, UK Border Force said, but it's all very much like, it's just, you know, someone said this and someone said that, by the way, let's stop the boats. And this brings us back to this thing of the only way the Conservatives can win an election is by continuing to push this and then to also rail against woke language and all sorts of other nonsense, but while delivering the exact opposite. And so this story, I'm just putting it down as rubbish, but here we have it. It's in the front page of the Sun. People are going to read it, and its voters being misled once again. But this not happening. I'm putting it down as nonsense, to be honest.
Well, you think it's nonsense. A lot of people think it's not.
I think anyone with any sort of discerning sense of, you know, intelligence, or basically reading it from themselves, can see that it's clearly not 100% true.
Just in 10 seconds, what do you think, Candice?
Yeah, I think we have to be careful about myths and narratives growing up and growing around stories, but I think that obviously the small boats is an issue and it does need to be solved. Suella Braverman is bringing in these reforms. We'll see if they start working.
Okay, lovely. Thanks both. We'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Thank you.